So the 2021 NBA draft is now wrapped up. We've had trades. There were some talent that slid further than a lot of draft nerds probably expected. And I just wanted to give a quick reaction video to at least the first round of the draft. I haven't dove into the second round guys or the undrafted guys like a lot of people who actually spend hours and hours and hours grinding this stuff, but I do know some of the prospects, and also, of course, we all read the same people. So wanted to give at least I'm not going to do a winners or losers thing because, one, it's too early, and I do think sometimes winners and losers columns can be fun, even though they are probably most likely going to end up being wrong. But that does not mean that there weren't first rounds from teams that I didn't like or did like. So I'm going to keep this video really simple. I'm going to pick 3 teams that I thought had a great first round. They had first rounds that I liked. And I'm not going to go with, the easy teams because I do like, obviously, the Pistons selecting Cade Cunningham was great. And the Detroit Pistons added a potential franchise-changing player to what I think is an interesting young core already that has a group of interesting players. And then, of course, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they drafted Evan Mobley, but that was really the only pick they had. And honestly, I think Evan Mobley has as much of a chance as Cade Cunningham as being the best player in this draft. So obviously, teams like the Pistons and the Cavaliers had great nights, but I'm just talking about overall draft haul in the first round. So I'm going to pick 3 teams whose draft hauls in the first round that I really enjoyed. So let's go with the first team. First team on my list, and this is probably a shocker for the first time in a while. The Orlando Magic, I thought, had an awesome draft night, and some of it was serendipitous. I'm not going to hold you and lie. Everybody thought that Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga, and Jalen Suggs is somebody that I really love. Reminds me a little bit of Brandon Roy, who was one of my favorite players in high school growing up. But everybody thought that the Toronto Raptors were going to select Jalen Suggs with the 4th overall pick. I guess I didn't see any reporting on this from reputable, writers or reporters, but I guess the Raptors leading up to the draft were leaning more and more and more towards Scotty Barnes. And so that was really the first domino that dropped on draft night. It was kind of the first surprise of the NBA draft. So the Raptors take Scotty Barnes, and that leaves the Magic with who I think was the 4th or 3rd best player in the draft. I think Suggs and Green are also potential franchise caliber players, at least all-star, at the very least all-star level players, not to the same degree of Cunningham and Mobley, obviously. But I loved Suggs a lot. I think he's a winning player. I mean, we saw all kinds of signature plays from Suggs in the tournament also, and I just think he impacts winning in a very real way. And I think the Magic were very fortunate and also were right to select Jalen Suggs with the 5th pick. 6'4" guard. Can be a little bit better of a shooter, but he can still shoot. He can shoot off the dribble. He is a great on-ball defender. I think he has really good chops as an on-ball defender, at least from what I've seen. And he just impacts winning in a way that I think will help the Magic. And if you look at what the Magic are slowly building, now they have a stable of guards, at least, that they could choose from, right? They had R.J. Hampton in the trade last year, the Aaron Gordon trade that sent Gordon to Denver, and they got back R.J. Hampton. So we'll see how he pans out next year in his second year. Cole Anthony as well. Markelle Fultz is going to be coming back from an ACL injury. I don't know how much Markelle Fultz fits into the picture, even though they gave him an extension. But you have Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz, RJ Hampton, and now Jalen Suggs. Now you get to see who is going to be sticking with the team at the guard position long term. And then at the 8th spot, the Magic were able to draft Franz Wagner out of Michigan, somebody who's a 6'9" wing, can play great off-ball defense, can shoot the ball really well. And I'm just glad that the Magic drafted a guard out of this, because they usually draft wings who can't shoot. That's like the running joke on the internet. They also have some bigs. especially from the 2018 draft class with Mo Bamba, and then, of course, Wendell Carter Jr., who they also got in the Vucevic trade last year. But getting Franz Wagner, who is also somebody who makes winning plays, is very competitive, has the spirit and, let's say, irritant nature a little bit of his brother Mo. It's just something that I just think the Magic had a really good first round. And now we get to see who shakes out on the roster. You get to add those two to a stable of Chuma Okeke, Jonathan Isaac. Hopefully he comes back from his knee injury, and hopefully he can stay healthy because he's been injured quite a bit the first 3 seasons of his career. But when he's on the floor, he has first All-NBA first-team level potential defense. So I really like what the Magic did, and I think now they can finally be building towards something, because I think Suggs has the chance to be a franchise cornerstone at the very least, and that's how much I believe in his ability. Number 2, I love the Houston Rockets draft. And look, the Houston Rockets are going to be bad, but at the very least, they're going to be playing some entertaining games. Getting Jalen Green, obviously, with the second pick was, I would have taken Mobley at that spot, but Jalen Green is also not a bad choice. I think he has the potential to be a really good scorer. Obviously, he played better competition in the G League playing for the Ignite team, but you're getting Jalen Green. Then you use your 16th pick to draft Alperen Sengun, who a lot of draft nerds consider to be the steal of the draft, and also just a really solid center. Then also getting Usman Garuba, who is somebody who is touted as playing hard. And then you get Josh Christopher, who is more of a scoring guard. But you add that to Kevin Porter Jr., Jason Tate, who is a hard-nosed defender at the wing position, Christian Wood. The Rockets might also have something brewing there, especially if Jalen Green can get his shooting mechanics down consistently, becomes more of a knockdown shooter. You got something cooking there in Houston, and maybe somebody that can make Houston fans forget about Harden. We'll see how Kevin Porter Jr. fits in the future there, but I think Kevin Porter Jr. is also just a really, really good scoring talent that I was a big fan of when he was coming out of USC. With new head coach Stephen Silas, he'll get a chance to mold the team into his own vision. So we will see what the Rockets do. We'll see how the Rockets do next season. They're obviously still going to be bad, but at the very least, they'll be playing some very, very, very entertaining games. And who knows, maybe John Wall will be more invigorated and as he tries to get back to form, at least as close to pre-injury form as possible, before all the injuries started hitting him. Maybe he'll be reinvigorated playing with these younger guys. And then my third team, whose first round draft haul I really loved, the Charlotte Hornets. Getting James Bouknight, having him slide to 11, that is the ideal combo guard to play off of LaMelo Ball. I imagine guys like Malik Monk and Devontae Graham on the team are just going to, fall to the wayside in the next few years. The Hornets probably aren't going to bring them back with new contracts after next season, especially with Devontae Graham. Maybe you might be doing something later with Terry Rozier, but Terry Rozier has also been really good. But James Bouknight, at the very least, he can come off the bench going into next season and then be the two guard of the future next to LaMelo. LaMelo is a 6'8" big point guard, one of the best passers in the league, and that is somebody who has the skills to cover up for Bouknight's flaws. He's not really a good shooter. He's athletic. He's really good at getting to the basket. He's an interior scorer, but he's also another ball handler. And he's on the smaller, he's 6'3", I believe, 6'4". But with LaMelo being 6'8" and being a pass-first point guard, that is actually the ideal player to put next to Bouknight if you were going to put him in the best situation to succeed. And then getting somebody as raw and athletic as Kai Jones, who I know maybe necessarily doesn't have the skills up to snuff right now, but he's a freak athlete, and not just like a run and jump guy, but he's really coordinated. He did show a little bit of a three-point touch as well. I think he shot 38% from three in college. And I'm not going to sit here and act like a Kai Jones expert, but I think if you put that type of player in an environment with the Hornets where his job is to just run the floor, defend, grab rebounds, and shoot a spot-up three every once in a while, I mean, that's more productive than Cody Zeller or Bismack Biyombo. I know the Hornets have been trying to find a center. I've been begging for the Hornets to try to find a center next to LaMelo. I was hoping they would get Richaun Holmes maybe in free agency, but obviously that's probably not going to happen. He's probably going to re-sign with Sacramento, but maybe the Hornets can still try for Miles Turner and then bring Kai Jones off the bench. But either way, I don't think Kai Jones is going to see too much time, but the Hornets did take a swing on a high upside guy that I think could pan out really well for the Hornets. But those are the three teams that I thought had really good first-round draft hauls. There were obviously a few others. I low-key liked what the Hawks did just overall in the draft because I know Sharif Cooper was somebody everybody was screaming was a first-round talent, but slid all the way, I think, to 48 to the Hawks. I think the Clippers also did well. But those are the three teams, the Magic, the Hornets, and the Rockets. I thought, well, they had my favorite first-round drafts of last night.